Hey there, I'm William Cunningham of myhopeinmarriage.com. You can visit My Hope in Marriage at myhopeinmarriage.com. All right. My Hope in Marriage endeavors to provide you with resources that you can use to forge ahead with a successful and happy marriage. We want you to have a happy marriage. And in order to have a happy marriage, it's going to require work. All right. That's an aspect of marriage that people really need to understand. And I found over 35 years of marriage and 35 years of studying marriage is that people take marriage for granted. Therefore, they take their spouses for granted. They think that it's just going to happen. I got married because I love the person, or you get married because you fell in love and so forth, and it's this high romantic aspect of it. But then as time goes on within the relationship, that love begins to wane because you don't sustain it. If you want a good looking lawn, well, you have to work at having a good looking lawn. It's not just going to happen. All right. If you want to have a nice clean house, you have to clean it, or at least have it clean. You have to take responsibility. It's going to require effort. And the same is with your marriage. If you want to have a happy marriage, if you want to have a fulfilling marriage, you're going to need to work at it, which means you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to learn, from others, from books, from videos, or whatever. At least get information from My Hope in Marriage. You can get information to help you use things to forge ahead with a happy marriage. And there's some things that are just, I would even say, common sense. For example, in any relationship, you need to communicate. All right, what makes a happy marriage? You got to communicate. You have to communicate your goals, your aspirations, your issues, your problems. You have to bring all those out in the open. You should have a State of the Union meeting every year, every 6 months or whatever. That's between you and your spouse, so that you can discuss and hash out differences, issues, problems, check back on your goals. Are you reaching your goals, and so forth and so on? Maybe you want to plan for a big vacation. You want to bring all those out in the open. You don't want to keep things festering inside and not telling your spouse. That's very, very bad. So in order to have a happy marriage, you really need to communicate. Now, one of the most dangerous situation in a marriage, in my opinion, is when you become roommates. All right, what is a roommate? That is where the intimacy, even the romance, the intimate connection between husband and wife is just about gone, or is gone. And now you're just two people living in the same house. Bills are getting paid. If they're children, the children are getting taken care of. The house is getting taken care of, so forth and so on. You're just two people or employees in Household Incorporated. You're roommates. You just live together. There's no intimate connection. You live separate lives together. But they intersect because of the functionality. You have a functional relationship. Now, if your spouse mentions that or brings that up in any way, you need to take it seriously. Because like I said, people neglect, they disrespect, they take their marriage for granted. If your spouse tells you something that bothers them, that concerns them, take it seriously. That's part of having a happy marriage, that you work together to make it happy. It's not going to be happy, or is less likely to become happy, if there's always that same problem. Because if a problem is not dealt with, then and it continues over years or decades, then the one spouse who has the problem may interpret that to mean that their husband or their wife really doesn't care, and that could get personalized. So you want to avoid the roommate situation by keeping the intimacy alive, keeping the intimate connection strong. That's very, very important. You have to communicate in order to do that. You have to learn what your spouse's love language is, whether it's physical touch or quality time or acts of service or whatever. Whatever however your spouse communicates. Maybe they're the type of person that shows affection by touching. Maybe they're the type of person that shows affection or their feelings towards you through giving you gifts. All right, so forth and so on. But you need to talk that way. If your wife likes to have gifts and that means something to her, then periodically buy her gifts. It doesn't have to be expensive or anything like that. Just something to say, I'm thinking about you. All right, something that says I care about you or whatever. All right. Now, men tend to want intimate connection with their wives through sex. That's known. It's not that we just want sex. It's that intimate connection that we want with our wives, and men receive that through intimate relationship, sex. And without that, he's going to feel alienated. He's going to feel like his wife. It doesn't matter what she says. Let me tell you something. A woman can say to her husband that she loves him all day long, but if she refuses consistently to have intimacy with him, all right, then it doesn't matter what he says. Talk is cheap. You don't love me. You don't want me. I don't care how many times you tell me you do, because you don't. Or that love that she says means something else. All right? I would say everybody wants to be wanted. A man knows that his wife wants him through sex and respect. Respect. You have to have respect for your husband. If you don't respect your husband, you're asking for trouble, because he's going to begin to feel alienated. He's going to begin to question himself, and he's going to start to resent you. That's another thing in a marriage that can kill it over time. That's resentment. Once he starts resenting you, then it's going to start acting out. Okay? For example, if a husband believes that his wife doesn't want him, doesn't really care about him, but just wants him around because he provides a service, lawn care, house maintenance, or what have you, then guess what? He's going to stop showing affection and even care. It's going to be like he doesn't care about her anymore. He doesn't do the things that he used to do. He doesn't jump up and try to get stuff and help her. He's just going to sit there. Unless she's in danger, then he'll most likely, because men, we want to protect. All right. So that dangerous situation, becoming roommates, allowing the romance to die, is dangerous. Now, husbands, you have to show your wives affection. You have to be interested in what she's saying. You have to listen to her. You have to nurture her. When I say nurture her, respect her. Listen to her. The Bible says husbands, love your wives. All right? Love your wives. Learn their love language. Do for them. If she wants you to help wash the dishes, well, help her wash the dishes, whatever. Now you have to help him, because remember, God created the woman to be the man's helper. So, and that's another thing that I find that in society, if you will, it's backwards, which is why marriage is so dopey right now, the whole concept. Because I hear so many times that he doesn't help me do this, or he doesn't take out the trash like he's supposed to, he doesn't help me wash the dishes, help me with the kids, blah, blah, blah. When God created the woman to help the man. But you don't hear men saying that, my wife don't help me. Because honestly, we don't really expect her to. Most men will tell you, if you are a man who is pursuing marriage, then you talk to the guys who are married. They'll tell you certain things. Game over when a kid comes. All right, you're going to be second-class citizen. Whereas she's supposed to be his helper. Not the other way around, even though he's going to help her because he loves her. All right, but we have to have that balance in the marriage where you meet her needs and she meets your needs and so forth and so on. And then you can move forward to a happy marriage. It's simple, but it's a lot of work because you have to come home to this person. Now, when let's say a guy comes home from work and the house is always dirty or junky or things are out of place or whatever, then he's not going to like coming home. And then that's going to act out on you. He's not going to like seeing his wife. You see, so you have to be consistently aware of all these things that could inhibit a happy marriage. You have to be considerate of what's necessary to forge ahead to have a happy marriage. It's very, very important. I just wanted to bring this to your attention because you need to be aware that you have to work at it. Don't become roommates. Don't just have a functional relationship unless that's really all both of you want. But if one of you wants more, then if you're not getting it, that's going to cause a crook in the relationship. That's going to cause a problem. That's going to cause a stumbling block. All right, so you really need to iron that out, work at it. Do what you can, work at it. We have a lot of resources on myhopeandmarriage.com to help you work at it, to give you information so that you can work at it. So work at it, okay? Don't become roommates. And if you are roommates, try to become intimate again. All right? All right, well, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I just pray that this has been helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to, leave a question in the comments, or you can go to myhopeandmarriage.com and ask your questions or your comments or what have you. And I'd be more than happy to hear from you. And I especially want to hear from the women because My Hope in Marriage is from a man's perspective. I can only talk to you from a man's perspective. I can tell you a woman's perspective, but that's basically what I've read and learned. But I can definitely tell you from a man's perspective. All right, but I would love to hear from the ladies, all right, the issues that you face with your husband, with your marriage, and so forth and so on, and things that worked for you, all right? All right, well, this is William Cunningham of My Hope in Marriage. I pray you have a good one. And remember, be blessed.